Hey, what's up, guys? Basically, yesterday was a 3-2 day yesterday, so it was a slight losing day. It was not crazy. The Phillies didn't come through for us, and one of the batters didn't hit either. So I'm going to show you those receipts, and then I'm going to give you guys a very strong, actually two strong plays that I really like in baseball today. And then this morning, you can see right there, I gave away 9 batter props inside the VIP. So if you're interested in the VIP, you can check us out. Go to the link in the description and then click on VIP. Check us out for a week. So I'm going to actually do two batter props are going to be given away for free on the YouTube short that's coming out later today. And like I said, I'm going to give you guys 2 batter props in the YouTube short, and then there's 9 already in the VIP. So check that out. All right, so how do we do this? The way we do this is something called the sharp edge. So basically, we get a big breakdown of all the games. Well, not all the games, but the ones that we pick and choose which ones we want to look deeper into. So you can see there's 3 games right here. I'm making it a little smoother with all this data over here. So this is in beta, they call it. So I'm still working on this, but you can see it's got all the information right here that you need to make a decision. So for example, let's look at the Cubs, which I'm going to go over today. And like I said, this is still in beta. So there's still like some stuff that's broken and stuff like that, but it does have all the data. So for example, right here it has the line move. It has the win probability, what the Cubs should be doing, the batting edge, the pitching edge, then the bullpen, the starting pitchers, all that stuff. And then the team records. And then it gives you a deeper analysis on this. So what I'm doing with this, I'm going to say it again. I've said it in the last 2 videos, is if you want access to this, send me a text message. I'll give you access for 30 days for free. And you don't have to take a screenshot. I know it says take a screenshot, but you can just say, hey, I'm interested in the 30 days, and then I'll hook you up for free. So send me a text message. Let me know that you want access to this for free. And the reason I'm doing it for free for 30 days is because it's still broken. There's still stuff that's missing. I'm still working on it and stuff like that. So once this is all like good, it's not going to be free. So anyways, take advantage of that if you want to. I would appreciate it. But basically, like I said, this is the way we had started originally. And you can see how much data is here, 12 pages for 3 games. Now, I will give you 2 games that I really like just for being here. So it's going to be these 2 teams right here. Let me get into it here. So the Cubs, you can see the line actually started at a 134 and now it's at a 142. So that line is shifting towards the Cubs' favor by, what is this, 8 cents. So the line did shift. You can see the little graph right there. It's showing 88% of the money, 76% of the bets is coming in on the Cubs. So they are favored. And then there's a differential of 12% from between the money and the bets. The one little situation I don't like, I'm going to tell you two things. One thing I don't like, but then I'm going to tell you something that's very strong that's actually going to like override this thing that I don't like. So for example, you got the pitcher over here, Cameron, and he's decent. Like you got 3 wins, 4 losses, 2.31 ERA. You compare that to Brazier, he's got 0-0. So the reason this guy is 0-0 because he has not started any game this season. He's a bullpen pitcher. So they're doing a strategic move here to put him in there because he's got a great ERA. But like I said, he's never started. So that's one big negative that I don't like about this game. However, that there is line move. The starting pitcher is a little bit questionable, especially with this guy being this strong. But then, like I said, the bullpen is somewhat the same. So they're taking a risk there by putting in this pitcher, but they must trust him enough to put him as a starter. So here's the other side. This is the offense now. So look at the offense. The Cubs are ranked number 2 in all of baseball right now for the last 7 days. You compare that to the Royals, which is ranked 11th. So that's a big mismatch on the batting. And then we got Suzuki here, Nico Horner, and these 2 dudes have been killing it. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details, but there's a bunch of stats right here on why the Cubs should be winning. They do have a vulnerability, 18-42, when the Cubs are hitting a lot of home runs and stuff like that. So there is a lot of information here. I'm not going to get into all the details, but this is a big one. The Royals as an underdog, they're 26%. So basically, whenever they start as an underdog, like they are today, because the Cubs are favored, the Royals have only won 26% of those games. Then the hit rate, here's another thing. That's another little questionable thing that says that the Cubs will be batting in the 9th. And what that means is that the books think the Cubs will be losing the game. So you look overall, the hits projections are pretty much the same, 7.5. But then you got the Cubs over here, 4.3. This is the projection, the overall projection. So the projections, again, it's the line move. The books are telling you that the line move is going towards the Cubs. That means that heavy juice is coming in on the Cubs, the sharp money's on the Cubs, and then the line and everything like that. So like I said, there is some little bit questionable stuff, but even the projections do show that the Cubs should take this. So that's my first play for you guys. I'm taking the Cubs on the money line. All right, the next one is going to be the Reds and the Nationals. So there's a few little questionable things here too, and I'll point those out. I'm not going to get into all the details here, but the Reds did start at a 120. Now they're at a 130. So that's a 10-cent juice move, and the money is coming in heavily on the Reds. You can see 73% of the bets, 79% of the money is coming in on the Reds. What else? The line is still shifting. The pitching staff for the starters is pretty much the same. Look at this: 7-7, 7-5, 4.3, 4.5, 92 strikeouts, 83 strikeouts. So very, very similar starting stats. Brady and the Reds are 7-7 record. Well, this is a little different from here, but either way, they're very similar starting pitcher. Now you go into the Nationals. Look at this: they're one of the worst bullpens right now. They got a 10.47 ERA, so it's catastrophic for them. Now you go into the batting. The batting, there is a little bit of a mismatch here. Not crazy. The Reds are 11th. The Nationals are 17th. So clearly, you're going to see the line move is coming in towards the Reds. The batting is going towards the Reds. The starting pitcher is flat. And then the bullpen is heavily favored towards the Reds. So for those reasons, I'm going to take the Reds on the money line. There's a lot of other information here, but there is one major red flag. So you got to be careful with this one. The Reds and the Nationals, when they've faced each other in the last 10 games, that can go back to last season. So this stat is not that crazy. Even though it looks horrible, it's a 2-8, meaning the Nationals do cover the spread, even if they lose the game. So it's favoring the Nationals on the last 10 times they've played each other. But like I said, the bullpen is horrible and the batting is better for the Reds. So I'm taking the Reds. This is supposed to be a very close game. You can see the Reds are favored 5.0 compared to a 4.6 on the projections. I'm taking the Reds. So those are the two games I'm giving you. Like I said, the YouTube short is going to have 2 batter props, and I do have 9 other props that I put into the VIP. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the description for that. And I did skip this game. I was looking at the Colorado Rockies versus the Cardinals. If you've seen any of my videos, you can see I try to fade the Rockies, so I go against them. But in this case, right now I stayed away because there was a few things that were too big to ignore. So the first one was this one. So the Cardinals are 24th ranked in OPS, meaning in the last 7 games, they're the bottom 5 in baseball. And then you compare that to the Rockies, they're top 2. So now there is a little consideration here that when the Rockies have been playing at home, so they all of a sudden get a lot more hits. I mean, so do the other teams. But because the Rockies have been playing at home, their last 7 days, their numbers get inflated because they get a lot more hits. So for that reason, you have to take that into consideration. But a number 2 rank, even them playing at home, it's crazy because I would expect them to be like around a 10th rank or 15th rank or something like that. But like I said, because they're at home, it does give them a little boost, but not this big of a boost. And then you go to the Cardinals, they're 24th, which is ridiculous. So Rockies, again, that's one of the biggest reasons I stayed away from this game. I might catch it live, I'm not sure. I don't think I will, but that's what I was looking at, the St. Louis Cardinals, and I stayed away because of those reasons. It does say that they should be winning. A lot of times I say I'm staying away and then they end up winning, but it's too much of a risk for me because there's no clear path right there. Big OPS difference. All right, guys. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the Cubs money line, and I'm going to go with the Reds money line. I'm skipping the St. Louis Cardinals, and then I have 9 batter props that are in the VIP. So again, if you guys want this sharp edge right here, this is the way it looks. The dashboard. Here's the dashboard. Here's all the games. It gives you a breakdown of all the games, like where the line is at. I'm still working on fixing this here, but it gives you a breakdown of the edge, the win probabilities, the batting analysis, the pitching analysis, everything I just talked about. It breaks it down into these different graphs like this, the team records, the insights, all that stuff. So if you guys are interested in this, 30 days for free. Like I said, text me right here. You don't have to take a screenshot. Some people have been sending me screenshots. You don't need to do that. Just say, hey, I'm interested in the 30 days. So, all right, guys, let's have another great day, man. Appreciate you being here. And thank you so much.